MLB's 21 payrolls. I know Bob Nightingale, wrote kind of a scathing story in today's USA Today about how the Dodgers have done everything in their power to win, luxury tax and all that stuff be damned, while other teams have done nothing to win. And, what a disgrace that is. And I'm sure Tony Clark read that over his Cheerios this morning and loved every minute of it. Number one, let me give you the facts. The Dodger payroll, this came out yesterday according to USA Today. They have the Dodgers payroll have a $234 million payroll right now in baseball, which is the highest, of course, in the sport. They have the three of baseball's top 10 highest paid players as well. Obviously, Bauer, Price, and although Price's money is being paid a lot by the Red Sox, but at least Bauer, it might be Kershaw, and of course Betts. The luxury tax figure is $210 million. So the Dodgers are $24 million off the luxury tax, and so they are doing everything they can to win. They don't care about the $24 million deal. And Bob wrote here today that the Marlins payroll at $57 million, the Orioles payroll at $54 million, the Indians payroll at $49 or $50 million, and the Pirates payroll at $45 million combined doesn't even equal the Dodger payroll of $234. So if you add the Pirates 45, the Orioles 54, the Indians 50, and the Marlins 57, it pales in comparison to the Dodgers. And, that tells you, exactly, good for the Dodgers and bad for the low payroll teams. And here is Tony Clark. When we sit down and engage with the league on any number of collective bargaining issues, said Tony Clark, that is going to remain a focal point. We want to move our game and industry forward in a fashion that questioning whether or not there is a high level of competition in the system does not resonate nearly as much as it does now. Now, let me say a couple things about that, meaning, Tony likes to use big language to try to confuse you. He basically wants teams to try to compete. Well, let's do a couple things. First off, two of the teams that are low in the payroll scenario win. Tampa, World Series last year, got a low payroll, $70 million. And the Marlins, who last year made the playoffs, 31-29, and beat the Cubs. So two of the low payroll teams, and the Indians made the playoffs last year and are always competitive. So three of the teams that have payrolls that everybody wants to knock compared to what the Dodgers do, they have, they won. They have been consistent. The Dodgers, remember, they didn't win a World Championship for 40 years 30 years before they won last year. So keep that in mind. It's a little misleading. You're bringing up the Pirates and the Orioles, bad teams. The Indians always make the playoffs with a $50 million payroll. Tampa is one of the most efficient teams in the sport, and their payroll is about $70 million. And the Marlins last year at $57 million were 31-29, and they won a series. So keep that in mind here. That's the first thing. Second, and Bob didn't tell you that, and then Tony's not going to refer to that. Second thing I wanted to bring up quickly is this: if the Players Association is that concerned about competitive balance and having teams going out there and trying to win, which is what they claim, they don't want teams to tank and they want teams to win and everything else. Here is the solution. It's a two-word, simple solution that every other sport in America engages in, and two of the sports that engage in it are bigger than baseball. That is called salary cap. In the NFL, the Green Bay Packers can compete with the New York Giants. In the NBA, the Sacramento Kings, theoretically, if they draft the right players and all and have the right money under their cap, can compete with the Los Angeles Lakers. And the New York Knicks can compete with anybody, and they stink. So if Major League Baseball is so concerned about competitive balance, here's what you do. You make everything salary cap like the NFL does, where no league's better than the NFL. None. Zero. Baseball is a patch on the NFL's ass. Nothing is bigger than the NFL. They just got $100 billion. $100 billion to get their games on television in the foreseeable future, while baseball's on FS1. Okay? You don't see the NFL games on FS1. So if you want to really sit there and you want to make the sport competitive where everybody's got a chance, the way to do it is simple this. You put a salary cap in where there is a ceiling and there is a basement. Everybody's got to spend the same amount of money, and you have to spend up to that, whatever that figure you come up with, $150 million, $160 million. It should be based on revenue. That's how the NFL does it. They take all their revenue and they give their players 49.8% of it. roughly 50%. I think it's 48.8, not 49. 48.8% of it. So the players get 48.8 and the owners get 51.2. So if you want to make, and you know what? In the NFL, the Packers, the Titans, the Jaguars, all right, small cities, they can compete. They can compete. In baseball, the small cities without the big TV contracts cannot compete. So theoretically, based on the salary cap and based on Tony Clark. So if you really want to make baseball, put them in a situation where, the Orioles think they got a chance against the Yankees and the Rockies think they have a chance against the Dodgers and, or the Pirates think they got a chance against the Cubs. Here's what you do. Cubs, you can't spend more than $175 million, and the Pirates, you got to spend $175 million. Or lower it if you wish. Mets, you can spend $150. Marlins, you got to spend $150. We're going to split everything right down the middle. That includes local television. If you want to sit there and you want to make competitive balance your theme, as everybody seems to want to make it their theme, that is the way you solve the problem. And if baseball says, oh, we're not doing that, we're free market. Well, here's what I would say to baseball. Baseball right now is not first. Baseball right now is not second. Baseball right now is third on the pecking order. Third. And one of the reasons why it's third is because if you live in Pittsburgh, if you live in Baltimore, if you live in Miami, if you live in these cities, Denver, Dallas, anywhere you want to pick, Kansas City, anywhere you want to pick, if you live in these small market cities, for the most part, you can't compete with the big market franchises. Now you're going to give me San Diego, all right? I can argue that too. But the bottom line is, in certain spots, you cannot compete. If you want these teams to compete, you split the revenue right down the middle. 50% go to the players, 50% go to the owners, and I guarantee it, the Pirates will be good. They won't go through Seattle will be good. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And if baseball is going to sit there and argue, and the players are going to argue, oh, it's crazy, that's stupid, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, here's what I do know. Football and the NBA, sports that are, I hate to say it, especially about the NBA, and nobody loves baseball more than me. Nobody talks about it on national radio. Nobody talks about it more than me. Nobody. Now, hockey's got a cap too, but hockey's not as big as baseball, so that's why I'm putting that fourth. But the NBA and the NFL is bigger. NBA is a much bigger global brand than baseball is. The NBA and the NFL is a bigger sport than Major League Baseball, and they have salary caps. We'll take a timeout, 11 after the hour. We continue here on Mad Dog.